Hello, and welcome once again to the Dental Marketing Mastery Series. This podcast is brought to you by dentalwebcontent.com and New Patients Incorporated. I'm Howie Horrocks, the founder of New Patients Incorporated. Along with me once again is my friend and partner and the president of New Patients Incorporated, Mark Dilatush. Hey, Mark, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Howie. How are you?
Real good, real good. What are we going to spring on our audience today?
Well, I think we should draw on psychology. I think we should talk about the differences between passive and aggressive marketing mediums, and how and when to use each one, and certainly when to use both.
That sounds good.
All right, so let's first, I guess, define passive and aggressive. In the world of psychology, when you call someone passive aggressive, it typically means that as they are being attacked, they are passively sitting back and not really doing anything, not defending themselves. And then they all of a sudden get aggressive when they've had too much. So in the world of psychology, you might want to look at the term passive aggressive as a negative. In dental marketing, the words passive and aggressive are actually definitions. They're definitions of marketing media types. So let me go through a pretty standard list of media types that are aggressive. Let me define aggressive for you. Aggressive, you can also call aggressive interruptive. It's a media type that you didn't ask for. You weren't in the market for. You didn't Google it. You didn't even want to hear about it. Not consciously. Okay. So aggressive media types are things like television. You didn't necessarily want to see that commercial about Dawn dish detergent during the Super Bowl. Did you, Howie?
Oh, no. Well, I'll make an exception with the Super Bowl because I'm an ad guy, so I love them. But no, I get
Okay.
your
Well,
point.
okay.
It's being shoved on us. That's what you're getting at.
Well, it's interruptive. It's aggressive. It's half of the equation. And some dentists and dental teams believe that they can get by forever with just passive. Okay, so now let's define passive. Passive is, I'm going to wait for you to contact me. A good example of passive marketing medium would be like a main street and a store with a glass window, and the glass window says open, and the top above the door it says hardware store. And you own the hardware store, you do no other advertising, but you sit there and you wait for people to pass by Main Street because it sees 4,000 cars a day, and you hope someone passing by on foot, bike, moped, skateboard, or car look at the awning sign that says hardware, and they remember at some point in the future that there's a hardware store there, so when they need a box of nails, they will walk into your store. That is passive advertising. In the dental world, actually in the entire world, not just the dental world, classic example of companies, small companies like Amazon and Google probably companies that know more about marketing than anyone listening to this podcast will ever understand. They all deploy both passive and aggressive marketing mediums in order to be successful. The best ones use the passive marketing mediums as a receptacle for their aggressive marketing media exposure. Now, let me help define that. The passive media that is the most popular in dentistry and serves as a reciprocal, as a recipient of traffic from aggressive marketing is a website. It's your dental website. Okay. But your dental website, if you really look at it and define it for really what it is, it's a hardware store on Main Street. You build it, you put the glass in front of it, you put an awning on it, and basically, if you don't do anything else, you just sit there and hope someone finds it. Does that pretty much sum up what just a website is, Howie?
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. It assumes no other efforts on the behalf of the owner to attract anyone.
Exactly. Okay, so you take the next step with your website and you do what's called SEO, search engine optimization. Maybe you create a social media platform, and maybe you're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, what have you. You have a blog too. Okay. So you venture out a little bit from your Main Street hardware store, and you have these other places that you can promote your dental practice and dentistry in general. But aren't they all just additional passive marketing mediums? Are you interrupting anyone without paying money? Aren't you really still just sitting there waiting for someone who's looking for dental services to find you?
Yeah, even if you've got a blog, you're waiting for somebody to read it.
Right, exactly.
You've got a Facebook page, you're hoping they'd stop by and take a look at it, right?
Right, and if you do SEO, then what you're doing is you're competing for keywords and key phrases in a Google search, but still someone somewhere still has to type in that keyword or that key phrase. In other words, you're still waiting for them to become a dental customer, to need dental services before they maybe find you. Now, there's nothing wrong, obviously, with dental websites. There's nothing wrong with SEO. We have a world-class internet department here. We provide those services to hundreds of people, and it works great. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just calling it what it is. It's a passive promotion medium. Now, the best companies out there, the Amazons, the Googles, the Overstock.com, eBay, Yahoo. You can just run down the list of successful website companies, e-commerce companies, and what do every one of them have in common? They all used aggressive media types to drive website traffic to their passive website. I know I'm calling Amazon.com a passive website, and they probably have more traffic to their website than any other website on the planet. But nobody in the world learned about Amazon.com by doing a Google search. They all learned about Amazon.com through very carefully placed offline, aggressive promotion media types. Television, radio. Some of them went through mail, right? You never would have known about eBay, Overstock.com, Ancestry.com. I bet you never would have heard about Facebook if it wasn't for offline media types and offline aggressive marketing, advertising content. So here's my point. Dentistry serves a fairly tight geographic circle. This is to your advantage. You don't have to promote 30, 35, 40, 50, 60 miles in a circle in order to interest and attract the number of new patients you need to maximize your capacity. Most dental practices don't have to do that. There might be a handful. I think we had a customer, I think in New Mexico. I think we still have one in Montana, I think, that still goes out maybe 60 miles. But that's rare. For most of you, you're dealing with about a 20-mile, maybe 15, 20-mile circle. So you don't have to get expensive with your offline aggressive media buy. You don't have to go into radio. You don't have to go into television. You don't have to play with people who are competing for that same advertising space in order to drive qualified traffic, local traffic, to your website where they can choose you after making a telephone call for their first appointment. You get to do it through what we have already said in a previous podcast is the king of all offline media for dentists, which is properly targeted, properly designed, properly deployed mail. So this podcast is called Passive Aggressive. It's called Passive Aggressive not because one is better than the other. It's not passive versus aggressive. It's not this one's great, this one's not. It's not that. It's both. It's called passive versus aggressive because it's a trick. The trick is that you need both to sustain. You need some kind of internal promotion. You need a good, solid internet strategy, and you need some kind of local, properly targeted, offline, direct, aggressive promotion to get in front of these people who, you know what, they may not need a dentist right now, just like my hardware store analogy and buying nails. They may not need a dentist today, but if they get to know you a little bit right on their kitchen table, maybe they save your direct mail piece, or maybe they throw it away. Most people throw them away. The idea is if you can get, Howie, 6, 7 new patients to call in direct and another 7 or 8 to go to your website and call from there for every mail drop, you're a very successful dentist.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it. It's like, we used to do this in our live presentation. How many of you would like to invest in something where 99.5% of people just throw it away?
Right.
Right. But the truth is you could be wildly profitable with that 0.5%.
Absolutely. So
you only need a few patients to pay yourself back for your expense on your aggressive marketing.
Right, and there's a couple of I've gotten input from dentists about the way we use the words passive and aggressive. It's funny, aggressive dentists don't like the word passive, and passive dentists don't like the word aggressive. So you kind of, you take the chance of offending both sides of the fence. Look, I'm not calling any dentist that's listening to this passive or aggressive. And I'm not saying that a radio ad or something, an aggressive media type puts you in a bad light professionally, because it doesn't. There's a million. Here's what we mean when we say aggressive external offline promotion. Basically, it's a list of the wonderful benefits of today's dentistry that you provide. That's what we mean by aggressive. By aggressive, we mean interruptive. Mom is doing something else right now, but we're going to teach her about the wonderful benefits of dentistry that you provide. And about 10 or 15 of those moms are going to react either immediately and dial the phone, or many of them are going to go to your website and call from there. And there's probably going to be 4 or 5 of those moms that take that and put it in their takeout menu drawer because they're going to need a dentist, or maybe they're not really happy with the one they have, or maybe their husband's a pain in the butt and she can't get him to the dentist, but maybe something she read says that this dentist might be for her husband, or maybe even her mom and dad. Maybe they have loose dentures, and maybe there was something in this piece that said something about implants. Whatever the issue is, she may save it and pull it out 6, 8, 9 months from now. Now, Howie, how many times have we heard the story, I stopped a year ago and I'm still getting phone calls?
Oh, yeah.
How many times have we heard that story over the last 20 years?
Yeah, we've heard it a lot.
Right.
We've even heard it, I stopped mailing 3 years ago.
Right. I know.
Got a call today from, the lady down the street, and she's ready to go now.
Right. Exactly. Now, here's my point. My point is that if you simply rely on passive promotion mediums, if you simply wait in your hardware store on Main Street for people to walk through your front door and ding that little annoying ding bell that goes off when you walk into a hardware store on Main Street, if you're just sitting there waiting for that to happen, you're not going to be nearly as successful as you would be if you did both. If you had your internet strategy all set up and you kept feeding it through consistent, properly targeted, properly designed, properly deployed external offline promotion. It's the way every other large business you've ever seen on the internet became successful. They did not do it simply by throwing a website up and raising their hand and saying, I'm here. They did it both, passive and aggressive. So passive and aggressive from a psychological standpoint, my advice would be to seek counsel. But from a dental advertising standpoint, being or having a passive and an aggressive marketing machine, that's what it takes. That's what it takes to have that machine, that marketing, the marketing engine that is consistent, one that you can count on, one that you don't have to change out every other month, one that you don't have to worry about changing companies every 2 or 3 months or 6 months or 12 months. Something that it's like the Energizer Bunny. Just keeps on ticking and ticking and ticking and ticking. That's what it takes, both passive and aggressive marketing mediums, along with internal. And we've been saying it for years. That's your foundation. Howie, you got anything else to add?
Oh, I think that's a very good descriptive podcast there. I hope anyone listening takes it to heart and employs it in whatever fashion they need to. It's often hard to feel like you're interrupting somebody, but really you're trying to do them a favor, to draw their attention to the benefits and really miracles of modern dentistry. And that's the way you do it.
Yeah, I think that's good too. That's a good point, Howie. I think if you're being a schmo and you're saying, if you're the cheap tire warehouse in town and you're constantly barraging everybody in town with tasteless advertising, well then, yeah, I would agree. But if you're distributing the benefits, the incredible, sometimes life-saving benefits of today's dentistry, you're at that point, you're the informer, right? I mean, this is not It's only going to elevate the perception of your dental practice in your market. It's certainly not going to erode it if you do it properly. So until next time, that's this podcast, passive versus aggressive. It's a trick question. You should do both. So Howie, I'll see you for the next podcast.
Okay, thanks a lot.
We hope you've enjoyed our podcast today. You can find more podcasts on our YouTube channel, on Stitcher, and iTunes. Also on our websites, dentalwebcontent.com and newpatientsinc.com.